Alright, our assembly is complete. It is time for the moment of truth. It's time to maiden this plane. I have never flown a 3D plane before, so I don't know how this is going to go. But we're going to take it out and perform the maiden flight on it. I'll see you out at the field.
Okay, maiden flight of the Yak54. Whoa. My elevator's a little twitchy. I think I need more expo. But we're in the air. I'm just testing things out here. Make sure it's going to fly okay. Never flown a 3D plane before, so this is new to me. Whoa, sweet. That is pretty cool. Yeah, it's gonna take some time with this plane to really test out the 3D capability of it. Right now I'm just testing out the maneuverability. Pretty slick. Man, I tell you, this is a pretty cool little plane. This might be a good 3D trainer for me. Okay, that's my timer. So let's bring it around and see if we can land it. All right. Whoa! Put your tail in the air. All right, that is these little wheels don't do well out here in the rock and the sand, I have to say. But man, that is a maneuverable plane. That is pretty cool, guys. I'm pretty impressed with this little thing. Just on the maiden flight, testing out the maneuverability. I think I'm going to increase my expo a bit on the elevator. And then I'll test out some rudder on it too, because I have a lot of throw on the elevator and the rudder. And right now I have 45% expo in the elevator and the rudder. But when I first took off, it was pretty twitchy on the elevator at mid stick. So I think I'm going to increase that to 55%. But it looks like the throws on the elevator and the ailerons is good. Really good roll rate. Plenty of elevator, and man, this is going to be a sweet flying little 3D trainer, I have to say. All right, flight number 2 on this Yak54 3D plane. Ooh, yeah, it does not like this dirt, sand, and gravel out here. Try that again. Try to get it in the air as quickly as possible so it didn't nose over. I increased my expo on the elevator by 10%, 55. Went from 45 to 55. this, this, this thing is too much fun. It is just so maneuverable. Check that out. That is too cool. Awesome. That thing just does rudder spins like nobody's business. That is cool. And I checked my battery after the first flight. I only had it set for 3 minutes. And I still had 3.8 volts per cell in this 3 cell. So I think you should be able to get 5 to 6 minutes of flight time out of this little 550 milliamp 3 cell, which is pretty darn good considering the thrust that it's putting out. I mean, this is a 1.95 to 1 thrust to weight ratio on this little plane. I mean, it's you can see that vertical climb there straight up. That is fun, man. And I'm not very good at rudder turns, but this thing does a rudder turn great. Hardly any effort at all. Oh man, I am going to really have fun flying this. Okay, there's my timer. Let's see if we can bring it in for a landing and not nose it over this time. Hey, we did it! That is a fun plane. I think this is going to be an excellent 3D trainer. This is courtesy of Banggood. I want to thank Banggood for sending me this kit. The kit doesn't come with any of the electronics, but I'll give you my assessment on this plane back at the shop. I'll see you back there.
Alright, so that was a blast. I am going to have a lot of fun with this plane. I'm not going to give you my final assessment on this plane yet. I've got one more video to put together and I will give you my review conclusion on this plane in the fourth and final video. I'll go over all the electronics that I used. They're all budget components that I used. I will tell you exactly what it costs for a plug-and-fly build of this plane, and after you've seen how it's flown, I'll let you be the judge of whether or not it's worth the money or not, worth the effort of putting it together. But man, what a blast. I've never flown a traditional plane with that amount of thrust, you know, that amount of power, that high of a thrust to weight ratio. My park jets, yeah, I think my micro park jet has a 2.5 to 1 thrust to weight ratio, so it has unlimited vertical. But I've never flown a traditional plane that had a vertical climb like that, so that was really, really cool. I don't know if all 3D planes are like this, because like I said, this is the first one I've ever flown, but it likes to fly slowly. And this is what I was talking about when I've watched videos of other people flying 3D planes, is they look very graceful in the air, in the right hands. And if you notice the maneuvers that I was performing with this 3D plane, I was performing those maneuvers at fairly slow speeds. And that's one of the benefits of having that kind of a thrust to weight ratio. You're not having to speed up to perform a roll to get a decent roll rate. You're not having to speed up to be able to pull it through a loop or a split S maneuver. And you can pull up at a slow speed and go vertical with it and just keep going with that kind of a thrust to weight ratio. And I think that's the reason that it looks so graceful in the air, is because you can perform all these maneuvers at a very slow speed, because it has the power to pull through any maneuver that you want to. And it handles great at slow speed. I mean, with the amount of surface deflection on this plane at slow speed, I mean, it's just extremely maneuverable even at slow speed. And it also felt more stable, and it tracked better when I was flying at slow speed than if I tried to speed up with it. So that makes it fun. That makes it fun for me, because it does look so graceful in the air. So I had a lot of fun with it. I'm very impressed with this 3D plane, and this being the very first 3D plane that I've flown. And after I got, kicked my expo up a little bit on the elevator, I was able to fly it fairly well. I mean, not hovering and stuff like that yet. It's going to take some practice, but just being able to do different maneuvers with it at a slow speed, I mean, I didn't have too many problems with it. And I was very impressed with the rudder spins that it can do. Like I said, I'm not very good at those, and it made it just about effortless for me to be able to do a fairly good rudder spin with this plane. The landing gear, the reinforcement that I had put on the landing gear, and the modification to the landing gear that I made, I mean, it held up really well. I didn't have any problems with the landing gear whatsoever. I will be putting together, like I said, a fourth and final video. I will go over my setup, where I have my center of gravity set, the deflection and all of my control surfaces, the amount of expo that I have for each one of the control surfaces. I'll go over all the electronics, the motor, the prop, speed controller, the batteries that I'm using in it, because I'm using 2 or 3 different batteries, different size batteries, 3S batteries. So, and at least I didn't get to put all the batteries through it today, because the wind started picking up pretty good at the end, but I did get 2 different batteries put through it. And one of them was a bit heavier, and it seemed to handle that just fine. I will go over a couple of other modifications that I made to the plane, and a couple of tips for you. And my final conclusion on the review of this plane. So stay tuned for that. And I will be putting a lot more flights on this 3D plane, that's for sure. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the air.